Welcome back to another video. Today we are in the Open Ultra League and we're going to be featuring a team revolved around the Giratina and Registeel here. We are first going to be counted with a Sneasler. They switch out into the Trevenant. We're going to stay in and we're going to go into our Steelix here. Steelix is going to be able to throw a breaking swipe to debuff their attack. This next breaking swipe does come back in and it gets this Trevenant low enough. Here we're basically forcing them to use Shadow Ball or potentially getting taken out. Even Shadow Ball at that point does not take us out. We'll go for another breaking swipe to win back alignment. They come back in with their Sneasler. We're going to go in with our Giratina. We switch in and then they switch in. They have the Moltres. We have the Registeel here. We are going to be able to tank all the moves from this Galarian Moltres. First was a payback. Here we're going to decide to let this one go again. Another payback goes through, and then we're going to be able to throw this Focus Blast here to take out potentially this Moltres. There it goes. And then now we have this Sneasler here, forcing them to use some energy. The Sneasler goes for the X Scissor, and they are doing Shadow Claw damage as their fast move, so we have to be aware of that. But because our Giratina is chunking away with her fast moves, we should be able to win this by just shielding our way through. So GG's to our opponent right there. If you didn't realize, we are running the Dragon Breath Giratina. So Dragon Breath Giratina protected by the Registeel and the Steelix. Here we have the Poliwrath, and they're going to switch into their Greedent. This Greedent is going to be able to throw super effective Crunch. We do tank the first move, and then we switch out into our Registeel. We're going to be able to tank another Crunch here. Unfortunately, we get the debuff, and then we're going to go for this Focus Blast here. Focus Blast will not KO, but it does a huge chunk of damage. Our opponent ends up going for another Crunch. We're going to allow this next Crunch to go through because we actually want this Registeel to be kind of low. And then we want this Registeel to come out with 100 energy. So we're going to try to race to a Zap Cannon, and unfortunately we do not get to the Zap Cannon. This Poliwrath does potentially no Ice Punch. This Ice Punch does go through, and then they decide to switch into their Mandibuzz. Unfortunately for them, we are going to have Steelix for this Mandibuzz. They're only going to be able to throw these dark moves, and we're going to be debuffing their attacks very, very soon. And then we're just going to have to just get to these breaking swipes as much as possible here. Even though these breaking swipes are debuffing the Mandibuzz, the breaking swipes are not doing that much damage. They are chunking away. And then we're going to be able to tank this next Dark Pulse, but then they decide to switch out, but not before we debuff them. So then we know that we have energy on our Giratina. We throw the Dragon Claw, and because we have two shields, we allow the first move to go through, ends up being the Ice Punch. Then we're going to throw this Dragon Claw again. It finally gets the second shield. Now it's a race to the next Dragon Claw. This Dragon Claw here will not KO, but it will chip away at this Poly, and then they decide to switch right back out into the Mandibuzz. We're going to shield this Mandibuzz because we know that it's going to do the most damage with that Dark Pulse. And then we're going to come back in with our Steelix, debuff them, tank this Dark Pulse here, and now that's going to be GG's because we are able to have more health overall on both of our Pokemon. So in event of a timeout, it goes to who has the most Pokemon left. And if you both have the same amount of Pokemon, it goes down to total health percentage remaining. So here we're going to have the Ampharos. This Ampharos is going to have a hard time against this Steelix. The Steelix is able to throw the first breaking swipe. We do shield the huge Focus Blast right there. And then our opponent ends up letting the Ampharos go. So because of that, we're going to be able to get to another breaking swipe, throw this breaking swipe right back at this Venusaur. This Venusaur is debuffed, so we're going to be able to tank this move here. And then we're going to switch out into the Reggie because we have a couple of things good against that Venusaur, so we're going to bait out whatever is lurking in the back. Ends up being the Obstagoon, so Obstacle in the back definitely would have been a problem. We do get it to show up early, and then we're going to be able to get possibly 2 shields out of this situation. Yep, 2 shields are done. And we're trying to get to another focus blast right here. Unfortunately, we get farmed down. And since our Giratina here does know Dragon Breath, this does a little bit better for us. And so we're going to come back in with the Giratina. We don't show the first one. The Night Slash goes through, doesn't get the buff. Second Night Slash goes through, doesn't get the buff. So we are looking good right here. In fact, we can survive another Night Slash. And that's exactly what happens. They decide to switch out, and then we're going to come back in with our Steelix. We're going to shield this one because it's going to do the most damage. We're going to go for this Breaking Swipe here to chip away at this health and debuff their attack. We're trying to get to another Breaking Swipe. Unfortunately, we do not. It is going to be able to get off. But we are able to throw this Breaking Swipe here, and we actually want to undercharge here because we want to try to come out with another Breaking Swipe. Unfortunately, that does not happen. And they are able to get to another move right there. So GG's to our opponent right there. Unfortunately for us, barely one fast move away from getting to another move to potentially taking out that obstacle. So Charizard in the front here. We do have the Dragon Breath version. So it is doing a ton of fast move pressure. They actually throw the Dragon Claw right there. Since it's not Shadow, we didn't have to worry about this Dragon Claw. And then we're going to throw our own Dragon Claw right here. Since we do have another Dragon Claw, we're going to throw the next Dragon Claw. Our opponent ends up letting it go. They're going to be able to get to another Dragon Claw to take out this Giratina. Since we have a shield advantage, we're just going to come here and try to farm down with our Steelix. That's in fact what happens. And then our opponent ends up revealing that they have a Swampert. However, we do have energy advantage. So not only are we going to be able to debuff them first, but we can shield. We have 2 shields. We're going to be able to throw another Breaking Swipe. This Breaking Swipe right here almost takes it into the red. And then now we're going to let the second one go because it's already double debuffed. We're looking to try to farm down. They don't allow us to do that, so they switch on to the Colossopod. We're going to switch into our Registeel. They go for the Liquidation. It doesn't get the debuff. So we're just going to go for this Zap Cannon right here. The Zap Cannon does end up debuffing them. The Liquidation does come through. And we're going to be able to get... Oh, we're going to try to get to another Zap Cannon here at some point. But because they got debuffed with their attack, we are able to survive both of those Liquidations. And then we're going to zap it away. And then come back in with our Steelix with energy ready. And then we're going to be able to Breaking Swipe right here to take out their Swampert. So Swampert was terrible for a backline. However, we were able to get an energy advantage to overcome that bad situation. Next game, we're going to have Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen versus this Giratina. That's a positive matchup for our Giratina. They actually switch into this Umbreon here, so we're going to try to catch a move on our Registeel, which is exactly what happens. And then here, at this point, we're going to try to pressure some shields. They actually are able to get to another foul play here. We're going to throw optimal timing. This Focus Blast will not KO, but it does, I don't know, 60%. We are going to be letting this foul play go through. And then we're going to try to throw on optimal timing here. It does take out this Umbreon. And we're expecting them to come back in with their Nidoqueen. And that's exactly what happens. So we switch into our Giratina. They swap out into their Manabus. So they have the double dark version. However, this is why we're running the Dragon Breath version to do a little bit better against the dark types. We're going to have to tank this one here. But luckily, we are able to throw some neutral Dragon Claws right back at this Manabus. At this point, the job is to try to take out this Manabus or try to get a shield. They actually let it go. And then we're just going to let this Giratina go down. We're going to try to farm down with this Steelix. They don't allow us to go all the way through. And then here, we're going to make our way to a Breaking Swipe. This is going to debuff this Nidoqueen. In fact, they have to shield. So here, we're going to shield this here. Ends up being the bait, but that's okay because we're applying a lot of pressure with our Dragon Tails. And then we're also going to be able to get to these Breaking Swipes very quickly. We're not going to mess around here. We're going to shield all the way because we know that they're debuffed and they're pressured to switch out at some point, and that's exactly what happened. So they switch out into the Mana Buzz, allowing us to get to another move, but they go for the Earthquake right there. Unfortunately for them, we switched out and we are able to farm them down. So check out this team if you haven't already, and let us know if you enjoyed the video.